Hello class, today we're going to look at section 6.2, which is addressing unit rates. A rate is a ratio that compares two quantities that have different units. So yesterday at the end of the lesson we were talking about comparing 8 ounces to 3 pounds. Those two had different labels, so we wanted to convert them. Today we are not going to need to convert them because we are okay to have different units on our ratios. A couple heads up, if you are dealing with problems that involve money, money will always be the unit in the top of the fraction. So if there's any monetary value, you want to make sure that that unit is in the numerator. If there is any amount of time, so hours, minutes, seconds, anything like that, any value of time will always be in the denominator. Other than that, you want to go with the quantity that's listed first would be the numerator, and the quantity listed second is in the denominator, but money and time are an exception. They always have one specific place in the fraction. Looking at a unit rate, that means we have simplified the rate down to a denominator of 1. So the number on the bottom of the fraction has to be a 1. It does not matter if the numerator turns into a decimal. So it is okay to have decimals in the numerator of your answer as long as the bottom number is 1. So we are not just simplifying down to the whole numbers, we are simplifying down until the bottom is equal to 1. It must equal 1 in the denominator. So, for example, we are looking at $11 in 4 boxes. Again, notice the money is on the top of this fraction. So our goal is to figure out how much it costs for one box. We only care about the one box, that's the unit rate or the unit price in this case. In order to do that, to convert 4 into 1, we are going to need to divide by 4. So 4 boxes divided by 4 gives us the 1 box. If we do it on the denominator portion, we also have to do it on the numerator portion. Just like when we simplify regular fractions, if we do it to the bottom, we do it to the top, or vice versa. If we do it to the top, we do it to the bottom. So when I do $11 divided by 4, that gives me a price of $2.75 per box. Again, totally fine that we have a decimal in the top of the fraction. We are looking at rates, so that is okay. So this is telling us that one box costs $2.75, which is how we got to the ratio of 4 boxes costing $11. Go ahead and pause this video, try it on your own, and then start her up when you're ready to check your answer. For this one, again, we still want to get it to a denominator of 1. So this time we are looking at 1 minute. In order to do that, we need to divide by 5. If I divide by 5 on the bottom, that means I need to divide by 5 on the top, giving me an answer of 3.7 miles in 1 minute. Again, totally fine that there is a decimal in the answer. One thing to note also, that time value is in the bottom or the denominator of the fraction. Another thing you'll be asked to do is to compare the unit rates. In order to compare them, that means we need to find them first. So first we are looking at a price of $12 for 15 songs. We want to figure out how much it costs for one song. In order to do that, we need to divide both of them by 15 to make that denominator go to 1. When I do 12 divided by 15, I get an answer of $0.80. Again, the units stay the same, so $0.80. You could switch it to, say, 80 cents if you would like. And then over here, again, we are looking for one song. This time, in order to solve, we are going to need to divide by 10, which means we have an answer of $0.90 or 90 cents. When we are asked to compare, that goes back to what we talked about in Chapter 5. It's either greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or just equal to. If we are comparing these prices, we are going to look and see that 80 cents per song is less than 90 cents per song. If it's asking, we would say 12 songs or $12 for 15 songs is cheaper or is a better deal, or however you want to phrase that. We were looking at which one is a better deal. Go ahead, pause the video, try this on your own, start it up to check your answer. We've got, for the first one, we need to get to 1 ounce on the bottom. So we are going to divide both of those quantities by 8, and I get an answer of $0.72 or 72 cents. For the second one, we are also going to need to get to an answer of 1 ounce on the bottom. So this time we are going to need to divide both by 12. And when I do that, I get $0.74. Again, we are looking to figure out a comparison. So we're going to say 72 is less than 74, giving us a statement that $5.76 for 8 ounces is cheaper, less expensive, a better deal, however you want to phrase it. Last thing we're going to look at, of course, is word problems. Word problems. So, a bakery makes 195 donuts for 3 hours. At this rate, how many donuts can they make in 8 hours? So, they give us a starting rate, which is 195 donuts in 3 hours. Notice I have labeled my units. All of the problems here had labeled units throughout the entirety of the problem. I want to make sure I do that same thing with my word problems. The first thing I'm going to want to do is get it into my unit rate. So I want to know how many donuts can they make in 1 hour. In order to figure that out, I'm going to need to divide by 3. When I divide 195 by 3, I get an answer of 65 donuts. That's not what it's asking us for, though. It's asking us for how many donuts they can make in 8 hours. So I have to take a second step on this problem. To get to my final answer, I want 8 hours on the bottom. In order to get from 1 hour to 8 hours, that means I am multiplying by 8. If I do it to the denominator, I have to do it to the numerator. And I get 520 donuts in 8 hours. So we're taking that second step of going beyond and using the unit rate. So we started with our initial rate, 195 donuts in 3 hours. We converted that into our unit rate, 65 donuts in 1 hour. There's that 1 on the bottom, so it's a unit rate. Then I needed to take that bonus step of getting to 8 hours, multiplying both of those values by 8. I ended up with my 520 donuts in 8 hours. Go ahead, pause the video, try this one on your own, hit play to check your answer. Starting with 34 breaths in 4 hours. Being careful that I am actually labeling my problem correctly. I want to get to that middle step of the unit rate. So I want to get to 1 hour, figure out how many breaths they take. In order to do that, I'm dividing by 4, and I end up with 8.5 breaths in 1 hour. My last step, I want to figure out how much we have in 7 hours. So I need 7 hours to be my final amount of time. Going to have to multiply both of those by 7 to get our final answer, which is going to be 59.5 breaths in the 7-hour time frame. So, again, start with the rate, turn it to the unit rate, then use it to find your final answer. Your homework is on page 272, 273, problems 2 through 20 evens. Again, make sure that there are labels on every single one of your problems on your final answers. If the labels are not there, it is going to be counted as incorrect.